Are you curious if online job is still a viable option in the year 2024? Well, you definitely came into the right place. In this video, we're going to be diving into 7 compelling proofs that will show you that online job is not just viable but also thriving in 2024. Now, stay tuned up to the end of the video because number 6 is something that you probably haven't thought about, and it could definitely change the way you view online work forever. Hi, my name is Taj and welcome to another episode of Modern Nomads. So you've probably seen all of those YouTube videos where a person working in the beach or a person working in the coffee shop, all of this digital nomad lifestyle, it's becoming a thing. But you're probably asking if it's still viable, if the market is already saturated, or how competitive the market is when it comes into online job and remote work. Is it still worth it? I'm going to show you some of the articles that I found online, and these are all backed up with science. These are all legitimate surveys coming from reputable websites and reputable survey platforms. And I hope that by the end of this video, you will be better informed about the market and the viability of online jobs and all of this remote work culture thing. So without further ado, let's jump into the first one. Preference. It's all about preference. Now, according to the USA Today, definitely recognize the impact of the COVID pandemic. One of the impression that the COVID left us was, of course, the shift towards our perception of working from the traditional office to the hybrid setup or the remote work setup. And according to a study conducted by Upwork, they found out that 22% of the American workforce will be remote by the year 2025. This video is actually recorded in the year 2024. So with this alone, you can definitely see a trend. You can just imagine 22% of the workforce. Now, I know that this is confined in American soil, but it's not just in America. Ukraine, Brazil, Poland have the highest percentage of white-collar jobs that are remote. France, Germany, and India had the lowest. Now, this data would definitely show us that the transition that we're talking about is not just confined in the US soil, but it's actually happening worldwide. Now, this also tells us that it's not just the US that we have an opportunity to work remotely and online job specifically, but also other countries as well. So the opportunity for online job is actually on a world scale. Now, this article specifically says that although most of the businesses in the US, they prefer hiring a worker from their own region. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they cannot hire overseas remote workers. There are still companies in the US that would also hire overseas worker for remote jobs. For obvious reason that the salary of the overseas worker is less cheaper compared to somebody who is living in their own country. They also found out that 1/3 of the workers in the US who can work remotely do so all the time, while 41% are at least part-time remote or on a hybrid setup. Now, a hybrid setup is that there are days in a week where you get to work from home and also days in a week that you get to work at the office. So it could be 2 days at the office, 3 days remote work, or vice versa. According to the Upwork Futures Remote Work Study, 1/3 of hiring managers said that productivity has increased due to remote work setting. Productivity is a common issue when it comes to remote work. Okay, you're probably thinking, well, companies are concerned with the productivity metrics. So how is it still viable in the year 2024? I mean, it's been what, like how many years already? 3 years after COVID? Isn't it expected that we're going to see a decrease in online jobs nowadays? Well, actually, no. And I'm going to show you a proof of that later on. Now, you might be thinking that online job is just for fresh graduates or somebody who is running out of option. That's why, instead of doing the traditional way of going to the office for a traditional office setup, why don't I just go work at home, engage, look for an online job, just work at the comforts of my home? Well, to tell you the truth, based on the data that we have here, it's not just the fresh graduates who are actually working remotely nowadays, but associate's degree, bachelor's degree, people who have master's degree and also doctoral degree, they are actually part of the remote workforce nowadays. So based on the table that we have right here, we can definitely say that the opportunity when it comes to online job is not just limited to the fresh graduate, but also with individuals who have higher educational attainment, so to speak. Again, working remotely is becoming a preference now. Now we have to ask ourselves, is there a direct correlation between educational attainment with the compensation when it comes to working remote or online jobs? Well, definitely yes. As you can see here on the table again, we have a glimpse of the earning potential in relation to the educational attainment. A lot of individuals still works in the office in the traditional setup. 26% fully remote, and then 32% would be the hybrid setup. Now, if we look at the less than 50K annual income salary, we can definitely see that majority are going for the fully remote work. But based on the two tables here, we can definitely see that it is becoming a preference, not just limited only for the fresh graduates or for the young folks. But for the next table that we have here, of the 59% of the employed adults with work from home jobs, 65% of them have a bachelor's degree, and 67% earn a higher income. So this is a good thing actually. So as to the question, is online jobs still viable in the year 2024? The answer is definitely yes, based on the data that we have right now. Now, another proof that I'm going to show you that online job is still going strong in the year 2024 is that it is a two-way street. It benefits the business as well as the worker. According to flexjobs.com, remote work is good for business. Research shows that businesses lose $600 billion a year to workplace distractions. And additionally, offering remote work helps reduce attrition and unscheduled absences and increase productivity. Now earlier, if you can remember that I mentioned about issues when it comes into remote work is that businesses are a little bit skeptical on the department of productivity, but actually based on studies, no. In fact, 77% of workers professionals state that they are more productive working remotely than in a traditional office. More specifically, 80% of the Gen Z and Gen X and 70% of millennials state that they are more productive working at home than in the office. Now, this is definitely a good thing because businesses have already recognized the benefits of hiring a worker who is working remotely, because contrary to popular belief that workers are less productive, well, it says here that remote work is actually good for business because it increases productivity with their job. Now let's go to the third proof that I'm going to share to you, which is the productivity concerns. And personally, I think this is one of the main moving factors when it comes into the rise of this whole remote work and hybrid work setup trend. Now, statistics showing the overall impact of remote work, a whopping 86% and 85% of employees believe that the ability to work remotely would contribute to their happiness and a better work-life balance, respectively, according to the OWL's labs. As again, I've mentioned, productivity is not actually an issue when it comes into remote work because research and statistics and data that we have, surveys being conducted by independent institutions, that it doesn't affect productivity that much. But it says here on the third paragraph, it seems that there's a mismatch between men and women. While 80% of the male respondents say that they agree with their company's mandate to go back to the office to increase productivity, only 47% of women say the same. So the rest maintain that remote work has boosted their productivity and are pushing to stay remote/hybrid workers. So employee productivity and satisfaction with work from home. The main reasons workers give for enhanced productivity through work from home are fewer interruptions, that is true, better work-life balance, definitely true, a quieter environment, definitely true if you have a dedicated office, so feeling more comfortable and experiencing more happiness and less stress. Definitely, I would agree to that, less stress. When you are working at home, less stress compared to working at the office. 93% of working professionals say that their mental health is positively impacted by working from home, while 90% also say it positively affects their physical health. Now, what do these companies have to say when it comes into the productivity concerns regarding remote work? Well, as you can see here, 80% of leaders are confident in their current hybrid work strategy. 80% of executive reports that their employees' productivity was somewhat or much higher over the past 24 months. 86% of companies have issued an in-office attendance mandate for a certain numbers of days weeks, and 80% of organizations want their employees in the office at least 3 days a week. Again, that's a hybrid setup. And also 55% of small companies have increased their office space footprint over the last 2 years, which bring us to the next proof, the fourth proof that I'm going to share to you why online job is absolutely still viable in the year 2024. This is an emergence of a new trend, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see here in the graph, with the pandemic in the rear view, however, we're beginning to see the emergence of a new trend, which is a hybrid work setup. So from 2020, this is that the pandemic hits. 2021, 2022, it went up almost 14k says here. 2023, and this year 2024. So based on the graph, you can definitely see that there is no sign that the hybrid work setup is declining or decreasing. Another graph that I'm going to show you, freelance platforms gain tractions. As companies have become more comfortable with the hybrid workforce, they've been increasingly turning to freelance platforms. This comes at the time when millions of people are seeking out remote freelance work for the first time. Same thing, same trend, it's going up. Now another graph here showing you the search growth when it comes into keyword Fiverr and Upwork. So 2020 to 23 up to 24, there's no sign of stopping. There's no sign of the work from home trend is declining. It's absolutely going up. Simple breakdown again, an infographic would show us that these are some of the usual trend. Remote work, 82% home office. So I fall in this 82% category. I have a home office, I work here, I work at home. Bedroom, 21%. Couch, 20%. Co-working space, when you share space with someone else, that would be 5%. I think that the dream setup here would be outdoors, which is 2%. These are the folks that you see here on YouTube, digital nomad lifestyles. So this is the 2% of the demographics. They can basically travel anywhere in the world while working. So these are the 2%. So the fifth proof that I'm going to share to you is the recognition of remote work. Now, in the Salary.com survey, the most popular work setup was a hybrid plan. More than 50% of leaders said that employees would be working from the office part of the week and working remotely part of the week. Now, again, it's becoming a trend already. And when it comes into the recognition, considering that it's becoming a corporate policy now, the growing attention on the employee well-being. Again, we've already discussed, I've already shown to you that a lot of these new workforce actually prefer working at home because it boosts their well-being. It's beneficial for their health, and it is embodied in this graph. In the Deloitte survey, corporate executives named improving employee well-being as one of the important goals that they hope to achieve in the short-term future. So this is a clear proof that a lot of the companies and a lot of businesses nowadays has actually recognized this great transition, working from the traditional physical office setup to the work from home remote / hybrid setup. Now, how about online job listings? So percentage of job posting listed as remote. So this is the graph. So from 2020 up to now 2024, as you can see in the graph, there's no sign of declining, meaning that from the pandemic time, which is 2020 up until today, after the pandemic, still the number of job opportunities posted online, work from home setup, 100% remote work has increased over the years since the pandemic. And this is actually good because if we try to go back during the pandemic, a lot of businesses closed because they were, the businesses were affected by the pandemic. And after the pandemic was over, a lot of these businesses opened again, startup businesses, which goes to the sixth proof when it comes into startups. Now, if we try to examine in the US alone, okay, this is the map for the percentages of working from home in each state. Now, if you can see here, Washington, the state of Washington, has the second highest percentage of from home setup. A lot of online job opportunities are actually available in this industry alone. Now, a graph here shows us that startups percentage of job posting listed as remote over time. So these are all startup companies posting job opportunities online. It could be in Upwork, it could be in LinkedIn, Fiverr, you name those platforms. All of these platforms, a lot of the startup companies are actually hiring workers to work for them remotely. So definitely there's still opportunity even in the year 2024. And might I just say, 2024 is still a good year to start your online career journey based on the graphs that I've shown you here. Obviously, this video would be not complete if we do not discuss one of the main, I would say, main moving factor why we are considering online work, aside from the good benefits of work-life balance. That is competitive salary, which is the seventh proof that I'm going to share to you. Competitive salary. Now, salaries for remote job openings are essentially the same as average salaries for non-remote job opening, which means that there is no big of a difference. Actually, generally it's basically just the same. Okay, so if you are earning this much from the traditional work setup and you are trying to contemplate whether online job or working at home is good for you, but you are a little bit skeptical, what would be the salary? Is the salary competitive? Well, to tell you honestly, based on the surveys, it's still competitive. Do remote workers earn less than their non-remote counterparts? According to the data, the answer is no. Salaries for remote jobs are essentially the same as salaries for non-remote jobs when controlling for years of experience and job titles. So basically, you're still getting the same salary, but the kicker here is a matter of personal preference. Again, I keep saying personal preference because although online job or online work, remote work is pretty much open for everyone to try, but to be fair, it's not really for everybody, so to speak. So if you prefer more time with the family, if you prefer to see your kids at home, if you prefer to be with your loved ones at home, then of course remote job, online job is definitely for you. I think you should give it a try. That's what I'm trying to say. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you learned something new, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. And if you do have any question, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them as soon as I can. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on my next videos. Cheers.